Oh god. We have to talk about Lance from the Serf Times again. I'm so sorry, and it hurts me just as much as it does you. In this clip, Lance is going after Anna Kasparian, host of the Young Turks, who's become, dare I say it, more based, or at least more reasonable, as of late.
Like I've had DMs from people who I've debated or I've had strong disagreements with where they've actually legitimately asked me, like, do you not think that we could be friends?
I'm calling bullshit on this one. Because I don't think anyone would want to be your friend, Lance. You're so annoying.
Like seeing Libs of TikTok and Taylor Lorenz, like, yes, Libs of TikTok has no idea what she's talking about. And honestly, it's pretty embarrassing that has become one of the larger figures on the whole, anti-LGBTQ plus bigotry movement.
Do you know who's also extremely embarrassing and doesn't know what they're talking about? You. Look at you on the Tim Pool debate on abortion.
And what is that medical procedure?
An abortion.
Like, but what is that?
What is an abortion?
Yes, like what?
How is it done?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure how it's done in 8 months. I know earlier on it's usually done with a series of tools.
It's a series of tools. You mean the doctor doesn't just use his bare hands, yank the baby out and start punching it? I always assumed Lance was an idiot. But it seems like he's actually a luminary in the sphere of medical procedures.
So I'll give you an example without naming names. Someone who identifies as a leftist fairly recently, like goes on Tim Pool's podcast and debates him on a number of issues. And during that debate, there were just obvious concessions. Like, for instance, no, you don't allow abortions of a healthy fetus like a minute before the woman is about to give birth.
Anyways, I'm going to completely misrepresent Lance's arguments, which, yes, that was what I was advocating for.
Oh no, she brought up the Tim Pool debate with Lance, and he's getting PTSD because he did so badly.
That's a ridiculous hypothetical. Mm-hmm. I get that it's a ridiculous hypothetical, but don't play into that hypothetical by creating this caricature of what the left is. No one on the left is in favor of aborting a perfectly healthy fetus.
Like, that's almost verbatim what I was saying. I was bringing that up. I said, Tim Pool, this scenario doesn't exist. This is a made up scenario that you keep invoking, the baby guillotines and all that kind of stuff, when it's not what people are advocating for.
Lance is too stupid to understand what Anna is saying. Hypotheticals are useful in debates because you can explore your principles and see how they hold up. She's not saying don't engage in hypotheticals. She's saying don't engage with them in a way that's inconsistent and incoherent, which is what you did.
You believe that the moment after the child is outside of the birth canal,
sure,
that they are now endowed with human rights.
Yes.
However, when they are inside of the mother, literally anything you do to them is acceptable because they're inside of the mother.
Oh, no, I don't think anything is acceptable, but I think the mother should still have the choice, ultimate authority over what happens to her body.
I don't think it's acceptable, but she should be able to do it. She has the right to. Anna is saying that you shouldn't be an idiot when you're engaging in these hypotheticals, because as the putative left-wing representative, you make the left look bad. Because now people on the right can point to you and say, hey look, left-wingers really do think it's okay to abort babies this late in the process. Because that's what you said.
I said specifically, if women are getting abortions, at the very end of their pregnancy, it's because there's a medical emergency. It is a tragedy. That is the reason why it could endanger the life of the child or the mother. That's the reason why people would get very late stage abortions. And then to continuously say, well, this is because you just say that, your body, your choice. But at what point should it not be your choice? At what point should you acquiesce that rule? At what point should the state step in and say, well, no, you have to give birth? And that's why Tim Pool plays in that hypothetical.
He plays on that hypothetical because he likes to expose how incoherent your ideology is.
No. If you were to ask me, Tim, hey, Lance, do you think it's a good idea if this woman who's 9 months pregnant, suddenly she got bored with the pregnancy, she doesn't want to have it anymore, but the baby's viable? Do you think that's a good thing to do? I would be like, no, of course not.
Then why should it be allowed?
Because it's still her right. It's still her body.
This is exactly what Anna's talking about. Why don't you just concede the point? You can say it's a hypothetical, and then it doesn't happen. But that doesn't mean it should be legal.
And then in the process, instead of letting the baby live, remove it but kill it, right? There's no reason to do that. You can give the baby up for adoption. You can drop the baby off on the doorstep of a post office.
I agree with you. I'm not disputing that.
So why legalize, even if it's one One. Why legalize? You see, this is the craziest
Because
thing.
her autonomy should not be cut off based on your morality.
Just because you think it's wrong to murder people doesn't mean we should make laws against it. Oh, well, we do that already. Law, pretty much by definition, limits your autonomy based on what we think is immoral.
Because he wants you to be on the defense.
He wants you to look like a dumbass who can't defend his own positions, which is what he did, deftly.
Minute before it's about to be born. So just say that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You can say it's a hypothetical without advocating for it. Hey, if you had the superpower of creating flames from your fists, would you use it to incinerate a school full of children? That's ridiculous. People don't have superpowers. But yes, hypothetically, I would kill all those children and watch them burn alive. You can engage in hypotheticals and still apply your principles. That's the point, Lance. Get it through your head.
That's why, like, a better example would have been to pull up the thing that I actually issued a correction on. And then, like, you know, when I made a video about the Tim Pool debate, uploaded it to my channel, I was like, yeah, I did fall into a hypothetical trap. That was the one where Tim Pool was trying to talk about whether or not mothers should be allowed to smoke crystal meth, because he was trying to go to all the extremes, right?
Oh, thank you, Lance, for reminding us of that delicious moment where you got absolutely annihilated.
What about
Yes.
meth?
Like, should she be allowed to do meth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her body.
If she wants to do meth, what's the big deal?
The big deal is that she's intentionally trying to kill a child.
This is one of the best moments in YouTube debating history. Not only are you starkly contradicting what you just said, that your morality shouldn't stop her autonomy. The meth scenario is actually less bad, because the reason she's harming the baby is because she wants to take meth. Maybe she's an addict. But in your scenario, what you advocated for was if she wants to abort the baby at 9 months, just let her do it.
In the process, instead of letting the baby live, remove it but kill it.
Her autonomy should not be cut off based on your morality.
How stupid and obviously incoherent can you be?
Right? I mean, you don't see a lot of people on the left go on Ben Shapiro's show. So I didn't go on his program for me. I'm super busy, and like doing interviews and debates, like it can become overwhelming with my schedule. Have been.
I know, like Dennis Prager and a lot of other right wingers like to say, like, the left just refuses to discuss or have any debate, even though Dennis Prager then ended up running from Sam Cedar until Sam Cedar had to pretend to be someone else to call into a show. But like, is that a thing with Ben? Is there just like a long list of people that he would actually entertain for a debate because they're as famous as he is that he has refused or rejects? Like, I feel like Sam Cedar would debate, you know, Ben Shapiro any given opportunity. Like, I like, you know, literally tomorrow live, even though he hasn't prepared on whatever they're going to talk about, he'd be like, yeah, of course, yeah, call him to the show, let's do it.
What is this idiotic rambling? She's talking about her busy schedule, not Ben Shapiro's. I love how he has to hide behind Daddy Sam Cedar, because he keeps getting invited to debates and loses them every single time. It's beautiful.
Like, I hear this a lot where it's just like, you know, leftists just, they aren't willing to have any kind of discussion with the right or, you know, compromise on anything because they're just such elitists who believe that they're correct about all things.
A great example is that debate moment you were just talking about. You couldn't even concede that a woman shouldn't be able to get an abortion at 9 months. You're insane.
No one's on the other side of this issue. I've never once seen a leftist who's been like, okay, so there's this multiple convicted rapist who has been raping and beating grandmothers, who has been fucking destroying society, who burns schools, who tries to murder children. Worst person on earth. But honestly, prison abolition, they should be free. I don't know why. I think I'm supposed to say those things. Buzzwords or something, but this is what the left believes.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. Or imagine if some complete idiot left-winger took the my body, my choice argument and argued that women should be able to get abortions at 9 months. That would be so stupid. And left-wingers do advocate for policies that are soft on crime, and they deny crime statistics, like you have done, and I've covered it on this channel.
So like just really goofy rhetoric, like birthing people and
Right.
The year is 2024. Since when is inclusive language a problem, by the way?
Look how nicely he tries to package it. It's just inclusive language. Even though experts do agree with the general opinion that it is harmful to women. But mansplaining Lance doesn't seem to care about women. Increasingly so, The majority of people think that your gender is assigned at birth. The same Pew survey also found that the majority, at 43%, think that transgender issues are moving too quickly. I think it's safe to extrapolate by looking at that data. Most people don't agree with these terms. So why are they being foisted on us?
Did someone call you a birthing person?
Happened, yes, in a medical setting, but I don't care. Like, I don't need to be called a birthing
Is
person.
that from a doctor?
Yeah, and
or-
it's on medical forms too now.
Did you have to put your gender anywhere on this sheet, or was it just birthing person checkbox?
It was
or no?
no, it wasn't a checkbox situation. It was a form that I had to fill out, and in the language of the form, rather than using the word woman, birthing person was used.
But wait, yeah, that's different than being called a birthing person, as in being like, you cannot be referred to as a woman. We're going to erase the word woman. There's a form where the form allegedly stated, would you check off this box that you are in fact a birthing person?
God, Lance can't even keep up with the conversation. But ignoring the fact that she specifically said it wasn't a checkbox 3 seconds ago, and I do see it as an erasure of woman as biological sex. Surely a medical setting, of all places, is where a doctor should want to know about your biological sex. He shouldn't care about how you feel. He shouldn't care about your identity. He cares about what you are.
No, it's got to be
Ejaculating
sperm.
person.
Sperm distributor, yeah. Ejaculating person. I am more than an ejaculating person, all right? I do happen to be an ejaculating person, but I'm just saying I'm more than that. I am a man. I'm a man. Yes, I'm the jizzler.
Ha! It's so ridiculous that you're offended by these labels that we're forcing upon you. But you can never misgender a trans person, because that's offensive. He's laughing at the notion that you'd be offended by these labels, when the whole reason that we're being forced to use them is so trans people aren't offended.
A sperm donor? Yeah, sperm donor. That's actually a great fucking example there, because that is the way that it is used in a medical setting. If you want to donate sperm, you're considered a sperm donor.
I didn't look up the etymology of sperm donor, but I'm pretty sure it didn't come about because a group of people were offended by some previous term. I'm guessing, as relatively speaking, sperm donation is a fairly new concept. We had to come up with a word for people who donate sperm.
I've never been like, sperm donor. That erases my madness. How dare you?
Again, on the one hand, he's laughing at the idea of someone being offended by certain language. But on the other hand, we have to use gender-neutral language, like birthing people, so we don't offend people, so we're inclusive.
But no one is asking to erase the term woman. No one is stating that women can only be referred to henceforth as people with uteruses.
We're not trying to erase the biological definition of woman. You just can't use it in a medical setting. You'll get banned from social media if you try to use it there, and if you're unlucky enough, you might even get arrested for not using the correct definition. You can use whatever language you want, as long as it's not in public, you're at home alone in a dark room and you whisper it really, really quietly.